Namaskar and welcome to this exclusive conversation with Shri Bandaru Dattatreya, Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment. Prime Minister Modi-led NDA government completes its office, 2 years in office this month. And today we are going to put in perspective the report card of the Labour Ministry, basically all that has been achieved in the last 2 years and the unfinished agenda as well. And particularly we're also going to talk about the issues that are critical in this space. We're going to talk about the labour reforms, the EPF issue. We will also be touching upon the contractual labour workforce, their welfare, and of course trade unions and much more. And to do so, let's get talking with Honourable Minister. So thank you first of all very much for talking to DD News. When Modi government took over, Prime Minister mentioned that this particular ministry will go out of its way to take full care of the workers' rights and also their welfare, and particularly the employability part of it. So in the last 2 years, how much of it has been covered? How much of it has been covered in this particular domain? Welfare of the workforce and the generation of employability.
See, first of all, this government is totally committed for the welfare of the workers. That's why the first initiative that we have taken is minimum pension for the workers. Earlier, it was only 30 rupees, 90 rupees, 230 rupees, 300 rupees. Now this government, led by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, we have made it 1000 rupees as a minimum pension for every employee, for which perpetuity also we have made it. Every year the government is spending additionally 825 crores for this welfare of the pension. And regarding the second one, the biggest achievement after independence is bonus amendment. In this bonus amendment act, earlier the calculation was only 3,500 rupees. Now we have enhanced it up to 7,000 rupees. One is coverage. Earlier it was 10,000 rupees. Now we have increased it to 21,000 rupees. So this is more than double. First is pension, second one is bonus, third one is, which is a very historical decision. Through executive decision we have taken that the minimum wages are very, very important for the worker, those who are working in the, particularly the contract workers.
I was coming to that. The hike in the contractual workers' pay hike, you've taken it to 10,000 rupees. Are we going to expect more initiatives on those lines in terms of empowering the contractual labour workforce? What all should that particular class expect from your ministry?
See, even this 10,000 rupees also may not be sufficient, because they are more skilled workers. But now, national minimum floor level is 160 rupees. So then 160 rupees, that is also a recommendatory one. It is not a statutory one. So in this perspective, when the Supreme Court gave its judgment, and taking into consideration of consumer price index and also variation of dearness allowance and other some social benefits to the worker should be enhanced. Then keeping in all these parameters, then we have put up to 10,000 rupees as a minimum wage. Even the state governments, if they give higher, and the minimum wage will be 10,000 or whichever is higher.
So are you considering these factors in the new set of labour reforms that you personally are looking into? Because in one of your earlier interviews, in fact, you mentioned that our labour reform initiatives need different thinking. So what has been so different and what is it going to be now? Labour reforms.
The first very difference is this, the sea change is particularly the migrant labours.
Migrant labor.
Migrant labor. This government has started National Shrama Suvidha Portal. It's called Shrama Suvidha Portal.
National Shrama Suvidha Portal.
So this Shrama Suvidha Portal, now we are going to provide under this Shrama Suvidha Portal, the industry will be given LIN number, LIN LIN number, and the workers will be provided, employee will be provided by universal account number. Now the employee can come all online returns, and for employee this UAN number, which is a portable one, and even the migration with this number portability, he can get wherever his pension or even for his what you call that EPFO, other thing can be get anywhere else. So according to that number, the LIN number we have provided, 8,60,000 establishments have come on the portal.
Okay.
And employee, 6.23 crore employees, we have given LIN number. And other important factor is this UAN, we have activated 2.3 crores with Aadhaar and bank account.
Okay.
And by end of this year, we are going to provide all these 6 crore workers for the UAN, so that the complications in the Provident Fund or even other laws, simplification, we have made it through the technology. Now this is the first achievement. And second achievement is the employment generation is the prime area where which we are going, Prime Minister flagship program, that is Make in India program. In this Make in India, the major portion is Skill India. Unless the workforce should be converted into the skill workforce, technical workforce, for which a separate ministry has been created. Now, in this country, every year 1 crore unemployed workforce is coming into the market. Workforce is coming into the market. And with the demographic dividend, India is going to play a major role. For this, we have started National Career Service Portal. That means all employment exchanges in this country. We are going to modernize. We wanted to make it as a career council centers. On one side, under this NCS portal, all these employment exchanges. One side, the job seekers will be there, and job givers will be there. And on this portal, the counseling will be take place, and every employee who registered in the employment exchanges, he can be provided the information of the job, where, which date, and which company you have to get job. You can go and search for that. And for carpentry, drivers, or even mechanics, even nursing, even many of the tourism centers, like that, the counseling is very, very important. So for which we have started the first phase, 100 model career council centers, for which 380 crores we are spending it.
We'll slip into a very short break. When we'll come back, we'll talk about the reforms that are lined up as far as the unorganized sector is concerned, and also, since employability is one of the cornerstones and the prime focuses of this particular ministry, we're talking about labor and employment, what all is lined up and how much of the space has been covered as far as employment generation is concerned. Stay tuned to DD News.
सुबह का सही आगाज ताजा खबरों के साथ, सुर्खियों के आईने से देश विदेश की सही तस्वीर और दिन के हर पहलू पर नजर। नया सवेरा सोमवार से शुक्रवार सुबह 7 बजे सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
Welcome back. You're watching this conversation with the Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment, Shri Bandaru Dattatreya ji. Now talking particularly about the retrenchment package as far as contractual labour class is concerned, their welfare, especially health and financial. This has always been a very critical area where every time labour unions feel that not much or enough has been done. Is your ministry something different, something that has been actually done at the concrete level?
And in this sector, our more emphasis, more development which we have achieved is in the Employee State Insurance Corporation, that is ESIC. In ESIC, we have started second generation of reforms. In this second generation of reforms, which the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister has inaugurated on 20th July in 2015, in which now the entire all hospitals, all medical dispensaries in ESIC, online registration and availability of electronic records, all their availability of electronic records, and beneficiaries need not go to the ESI hospital. With this online electric record, he can get his health records through SMS to his doorstep. Number one. For which we have started Panchdeep scheme. With this Panchdeep scheme is the largest social security scheme in the entire Asia, and we have spent more than 2,000 crore rupees for this IT enabled services in health. And second is, we have another change is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan in all hospitals, in which all the patients, those who are on the beds, we change daily their bed sheets in a different form of colors. That is called Vibgray. That means Monday, Vibgray. And this is called Rainbow. Other new initiative is we started Ayush in all our dispensaries and hospitals. That is Ayurveda, Unani, Yoga and Homeopathy. All these Indian medicines we have started in all our hospitals. Other important this thing is 27/4, that is medical helpline. All the doctors will be available at the hospital into 24/7. The special OPD services for senior citizens, 3 to 5, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So like that, see, we have made, and this coverage also, that ESIC coverage we have included for the construction workers. All the construction workers will be given services in the ESIC hospital. And first time the rickshaw pullers and auto rickshaw in pilot basis, Delhi and Hyderabad, we have started this medical services to the auto rickshaw and rickshaw pullers. And our initiative is to be scheme workers. Scheme workers means Anganwadi workers, Asha workers and midday meal workers.
Since you mentioned Asha, sir, humane laws regarding the working condition, and when I speak about working condition, particularly as far as the women workforce is concerned, sir, women workforce.
So, women workforce, we have given dignity to the women workforce. The main change which I have brought is the maternity benefit. Earlier, the maternity benefit was given to the women workers, the 12 weeks. Now we are going to enhance 26 weeks. And other is for all working conditions, for their separate canteens and creche for their children, and other particular time of functioning, transportation, counseling, all these facilities have been increased in the women workforce. And other important factor is we wanted to encourage more women workforce equally with the men without any gender bias. We wanted to give equal opportunity to the women, even in the skill development. Even in the skill development, our institutes are there. In our institutes, the 33% skill is given to the women.
Okay. Ease of doing business is an important aspect, sir, in terms of the startups and how your ministry is taking the whole startup initiative in a big way. How is your ministry pitching in startup and Make in India?
See, startup and Make in India is a very innovative program. And the startups for particularly the weaker sections, SC, STs, those who are young entrepreneurs, they are providing the bank facilities, number one. Number two, each bank, minimum 2 number new entrepreneurs should be encouraged. Like that, total in the country, 250,000 entrepreneurs, they are going to be given this opportunity, and every entrepreneur, I am telling about SC, ST. Other than this, lot of entrepreneurship to providing in younger generation in different fields of business. The government is encouraging, and for this even the women folk also has given a very much encouraging.
So your ministry has provided many labor law exemptions as far as starting of the startup initiatives are concerned to promote the overall entrepreneurship ecosystem.
Yeah, because it's a beginning one to give some time for promotions. There should not be more restrictions, so that they come out with a higher speed to compete with others. So that's why we have given some of the exemptions for a time period, so that they can compete with the others. Even for the startups, see, the Prime Minister has given for this unemployment people 1,000 crore rupees have been provided for employment generation in this program.
Sir, what are the specific measures that your ministry is taking in terms of pitching in ease of doing business? Because you said earlier that your focus primarily is going to be employability, the generation of employment. So in order to facilitate that, this ease of doing business and various initiatives which are practically implemented on ground.
So this is one of the major area where we have to encourage the employer, because our main this thing is a conducive atmosphere should be created among the employer and employee. So in this, the ease of doing business also we have encouraged it. In this ease of doing business, our administrative charges we have reduced under the for the establishments for EPFO and ESIC Act 1052. And we have reduced it to 1.10% to 0.85%. This is going to benefit 850 crore rupees for the employers. And all these administrative charges, all these complications, it has been solved through the technology.
Are the labor unions overall on board with you? Are they with you on same page as far as all the reforms that you have listed in various spaces like startups, Make in India and labor reforms? How much they are with you, and how much do you think, if at all there is any trust deficit between you and the labor unions, I mean the ministry and the labor unions, that needs to be bridged?
See, Labour reforms is a continuous process. It is a continuous process. But there are 44 labour laws are there. These 44 labour laws, they have been enacted. Some of them are 1925.
Are you going to do away with some of them if you think they are redundant?
So 1925. Now it is some 60 years or 70 years, 80 years are over. Now all these laws should be tuned to the update, number one. Further, we want simplification, rationalization and amalgamation. Through this, we wanted to make 44 labour laws into 4 labour codes.
Okay.
One is Code on Wages, Code on Industrial Relation, Code on Social Security, Code on Safety and Working Conditions. But nowhere the workers' rights will taken away. Our paramount interest is to protect the interest of workers.
Recognition of the trade unions is one of their main demands. It has always been one of the main demands, and one of the proposals by the ministry has been that you are not really going to allow outside entry into the trade union.
In organized sector, the outside office bearers will not be allowed. Whereas in unorganized sector, the 2 outside office bearers can be taken into. Because we don't want any politicization. The industry should not be politicized. Worker union will be there, but the union will be within the own industry, not by outsider. And other way, this is another reform is the registration of trade union.
Sir, now let's also talk about the EPF issue. Broadly speaking, what were the reasons that led you to change your stance on the EPF withdrawal finally? More clarity on that. And now, are you happy with the decision that has been taken now by your ministry?
No, really, because under the EPFO Act, the employer contributes 12% and employee contributes 12%. Now the restriction has been made in the agreement of trade unions. It is the demand of the trade unions. It is not the ministry's demand. And in which employer's contribution of 12%, we have restricted only 3.67% of its contribution can be taken from EPFO after retirement of 58 years of age. And now this is the demand of the trade unions. Minutes are there. That meeting took place when Narendra Tomar was minister. And now when the workers want that, see, we don't want to wait for 58 years.
Okay.
Then we thought of, okay, if the workers' demand is there, workers' interest, they feel that there and then only we wanted to take away our employee provident fund, then we have agreed. That's why, but it is in the interest of workers.
But and as far as the EPF interest rates are concerned, are you on the same page with the finance ministry as of now?
Our discussions are going on because CBT has recommended for 8.8%, and Ministry of Finance advised us go for 8.7%. We are examining, our CPFC, our ministry, we are examining, and we are going to have discussion, dialogue with the Ministry of Finance, and let us see what final conclusion will come.
But everything will be towards the welfare of the workforce. Sir, one final question, very briefly. Any unfinished agenda as far as these 2 years are concerned?
Yeah, unfinished agenda is some of the major. One is the Child Labour Amendment Act, which has to be passed in the Rajya Sabha. It is pending. And EPF Act, ESIC Act, and other this one is this labour codes, even this maternity benefit, even minimum wage amendment act. So much of the acts they are left over. But I will hope so that in future they will understand that in spite of this all hullabulla in the Parliament, Rajya Sabha, we have passed the Bonus Amendment Act.
Bonus Amendment Act is the reality of the day finally. And what's your, in nutshell, your assessment of the work being done by your ministry in the last 2 years? Because it's about the report card of your ministry. What's your assessment, very briefly?
Very innovative methods we have taken up, number one. And as I told you, the first time we are going to cover the unorganized sector. That is 40 crore workers are there. For their welfare, for their working conditions, for their wages and for their social security.
All right, on that note, thank you very much Shri Bandaru Dattatreya ji for talking to Doordarshan News. There are a lot of initiatives and policy decisions lined up, but all that is always for the benefit and the welfare of the labour class, the workforce that we are talking about, and the paradigm shift that the Honourable Minister has been talking about as far as the overall 360-degree view of the 2 years report card is concerned, is specifically in the unorganized sector. Once again, thank you very much, sir, and thank you very much for tuning in. Meanwhile, news and updates continue on Doordarshan. Stay tuned with us. Namaskar.